Halo is an overall pretty serious sci-fi shooter with tons of story and lore, but as most of us know, it also still comes packaged with a few jokes sprinkled throughout in the form of Easter eggs and references. I think most fans, and probably even plenty of non-fans, can name a couple of those Easter eggs right off the top of their head, like the Halo 3 monkey family, or maybe its hidden sound cues.
I am a monument to all Marty's sins. LOLOLOLO.
But how many of you can name them all? In today's video, I'll be going over every single Easter egg in Halo Combat Evolved from A to Z, along with an explanation of its origin and meaning where I can provide it, as part of a little series I'm wanting to start that goes over them all game by game. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. To start us off, on Pillar of Autumn, some bulletin boards can be found with messages, notices, and posters attached to them for crewmates of the ship. Some are funnier than others, and the messages change between the classic and anniversary graphics, but I just had to start here because it's one of the first ones many of us will probably have ever seen, even if we didn't know it was an Easter egg at the time. One of my favorites is a notice that scooters are for squirts and not allowed on deck, but I think they can be for everyone, and even a tough Marine should be allowed to scoot around if they feel like it. Switching graphics over to the Anniversary Edition, we can also see that the board notably features a troll face on the top left corner as well, which I feel is worth note considering it's newer than the original billboard. Whether or not this joke is still funny is up for debate, but the verdict is still out. Also, if you're a fan of the Alien franchise, you may recognize another reference on the board to a missing cat named Jonesy, who a crewmate goes searching for early in the first film before being attacked by a xenomorph lurking the ship.
Jonesy? Come on, Jonesy. Come on, baby. That's a kitty. That's a kitty. Come on, baby.
The next egg I want to crack is on the level Keys. Once you reach the protofied captain and issue him the worst concussion of his life, you'll find that even in death, Keys can't help but have a little puff. Because off to his right, dangling off the platform, you'll find a little flood tentacle hanging onto his tobacco pipe. I find this one really interesting because, unlike Sergeant Johnson, Key's tobacco use isn't really much of a character trait as far as the games go, so it's interesting to see it included here. I guess the book that aligns with Halo CE's story does go into a bit more depth, so I can definitely let this one slide. Next up on the list, we've got one that's a little more obscure from the PC version of Halo Combat Evolved. This one is pretty straightforward, and it's simply called the DMM 2003 message, which can be found out of bounds on the multiplayer map Timberland. This message is similar to a lot of other ones found in the Halo franchise that we'll be getting into next, and also as we cover future games, but this one is actually a reference to David M. Mertz, a Gearbox software employee who helped design multiplayer maps for the PC port. And 2003 is just referencing 2003 when Halo launched for the PC, or more specifically, in my opinion, the year he probably added the message to the map. Nothing too fancy, but I did say we'll be covering everything. So on the topic, let's check out other written messages found in Halo Combat Evolved. Meg. This one should be pretty common to most, as it has an achievement tied to it in the Halo Master Chief Collection by the same name. You can find it by going rampant at the bridge of the Pillar of Autumn after meeting Keys for the first time on Legendary. A nearby door will soon open to release a squad of Marines dispatched to take the Chief out. Simply skirt the fire team and enter their doorway. Follow the hall behind it to the end, and once there, look up. You'll see the Meg Easter egg. This message was created as a gift by Jamie Griesemer to his girlfriend Meg. It features a heart made of blood, if we can call it that, with an M in the middle formed by bullet holes. Another Meg reference is notably also included in Halo 2's Cairo Station, but there's time for that in another video that I definitely plan on making. The next message is simply called the Rex Easter egg, and can be found on the Maw during the Warthog run's large jump. It features the word Rex written in blood on a tunnel wall, and was originally created by programmer Tyson Green of Bungie. The text is a reference to his forum username Ferex, and can also be found in other Halo titles with a similar presentation. Man, these employees just love leaving their mark, don't they? Well, I can't blame them. We do all like to be remembered somehow. Since we're on the topic of hidden messages, let's take a look at Fortune, which is an Easter egg that's only available in the original Xbox and PC versions of Halo Combat Evolved, where naming your profile or a map .fortune will cause one of 13 random messages to appear. You can see them all on screen now, but my favorites are I like beans, don't wear your best pants in war, and all your hard work will eventually pay off. That last one really speaks to me. Although I don't exactly know what the origin of this Easter egg is, it's similar to the fortune command found in Unix operating systems that display a random quote from a database. I'm not a computer surgeon, so I can't get into more detail than that, but if you do know more, please share in the comments. Moving on, we've got Hello My Name Keys, which is probably not so much an Easter egg, but I'm including it anyway because it's a goof that I never really noticed until recently, and I love it. You can find it on Captain Key's chest above his name tape using the original graphics throughout the campaign, and started as a reference to the generic Hello My Name Is tags you might see at orientations or meetings. Bungie artist Chris Hughes admits it happened accidentally after he ran out of space to include the word is on the tape, but that's okay because I think it's better this way. If you've never seen this one before, definitely keep an eye out for it in the first cutscene next time you start up a fresh playthrough, and hopefully it'll give you a chuckle before you get too invested into the story. Speaking of starting the story, how about ending it? Because that's exactly what you'll need to do to catch this next one, called the secret ending, or to some, the Hugging Elite. This not-so-secret cutscene can only be viewed by beating the last mission of the campaign, the Maw, on Legendary difficulty, or just watching it on YouTube. In it, we see Sergeant Johnson and an elite setting their differences aside to make love, not war, and share a warm embrace before the Pillar of Autumn's reactors detonate, taking the Halo ring and everyone on it along for a ride. If you ask me, this cutscene has major implications on how Johnson made it back home in one piece for Halo 2, but we may never really know because it's classified.
Well, you can forget about those adjustments to your A2 scope.
That, and also because in the Halo novel First Strike, we actually find out that Johnson and a few other survivors escaped the ring on a Pelican just in the nick of time, but a fan can dream. So, quick question. Does anybody remember how Woody from Toy Story had Andy's name on his boot? Well, next time you're playing co-op or find yourself walking on a reflective surface, check the bottom of Chief's boots, because that's exactly where you'll find the initials MRL in reference to Marcus R. Leto, Halo's art director and the man behind our favorite space soldier's armor design. Its association to Toy Story is unconfirmed to my knowledge, and it could just be as simple as being an inconspicuous place that a parent might put a kid's name on a toy, but the second movie in that series came out in 1999 while Halo CE was in production, so I think it's a reasonable correlation. I'm also aware that to most, this probably isn't a groundbreaking one to learn, but I do still really appreciate it, and it shows the love that went into the process of creating the first Halo game, and makes things feel a bit more personal. Moving on, we have the Halo multiplayer select messages featured on the Spartan diagram when editing game types in Combat Evolved. This one took some time to be discovered because back in the day, I don't think most screens had the resolution to make the messages out, but I could be wrong. All I know is that my TV back in the day was definitely lacking the pixels to make this out. In this little egg, all the highlighted areas on the Spartan have hidden messages that are on screen now. My favorites are UV Protectant, Sun Visor for protection from elements, and UV Protectant, Sun Armor for protection from elements. And this is actually a great time to remind you that wearing the sunscreen is important even for minimal sun exposure. My wife is always on my case about that. I don't have any details on who created this little secret or why, but I'll make up for it by adding another fun fact. The "Sometimes I Give Myself the Creeps" line is actually a lyric from a song called Basket Case by an obscure band called Green Day. The M6D Magnum features Japanese and Chinese characters at the base of the magazine and on the ejection port. The first character, Shichi, excuse my butchering, translates to the number 7, which references the developer Bungie's unexplainable fascination with the number 7 that they have referenced countless times across the franchise's books, games, and other media. The second character, Chikara, excuse the butchering please, found under the magazine, translates to strength or power and could reference the Magnum's high damage or simply be a design choice when texturing the weapon. Again, I said we're going over everything, so that's why I bring it up. If you have your own thoughts or insights on what it means or why it's there, I would love to hear them. Now that we've got some of the small fries out of the way, let's move on to the bigger, much more obvious Easter eggs in the game. Siege of Madrigal was a song composed by Marty O'Donnell for an early Bungie title called Myth, which you're hearing now. It can be triggered in several other Halo titles by standing in certain areas, and is also just generally featured in a few moments of the Halo soundtrack. In Combat Evolved, you can trigger the song most easily on the level Assault on the Control Room by flying a Banshee to a platform above the control room towards the end of the mission and standing on its right edge. The song's existence is simply as a reference to the myth title, and to my knowledge there's no deeper meaning behind it, and the reason I think it's so big is because it's a standalone audio cue that's hidden in a pretty hard to reach area. I might be wrong, but that counts for something in my book. If you disagree, then maybe this next one will do it for you. I want everybody to meet the Thirsty Grunt, who is another secret hidden on the Maw, which is probably the most Easter egg packed level in the whole game, come to think of it. Anyway, you can find this little guy during the Warthog run at the end of a side passage near where Foehammer is shot down. Spoiler alerts. Once you approach him, he will say,
"Good thing that food nipple's waiting for me at the starship, cause man, if I worked up a big crunchy thirst."
Gross. 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 Ugh. Nasty. Ugh. Gross. So there you have it, all the Easter eggs in Halo Combat Evolved. If you know any that I missed, please let me know in the comments below, but do note that I skipped a few items that are commonly mistakenly referred to as Easter eggs, when in reality they're actually just bugs or preloaded assets like the Secret Marine or the 3 dead grunts. Remember that an Easter egg needs to be an intentional hidden detail intended to be discovered, not an accidental result of scripting or general game design. People getting these mixed up is a pet peeve of mine, and I'm not going to let that spread, and I hope you can understand my logic there. I know this video is unlike anything I've really made before, but I wanted to change my content up and do something a little more lighthearted with all the infinite drama that's been going on lately. Drama brings in the views, but that's not the type of content I like to make unless something is really affecting me. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I genuinely had a blast making it. I love Halo a ton, and the Easter eggs are an important part of that experience for me, so it was a good time rounding them all up, and I even discovered a few new ones that I never was aware of. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you didn't, that's okay too, your vote still counts. I will be back soon with another video, so please drop a sub and ding the bell if you want to be notified for the next upload. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your day or night. This has been Ben, aka Taport. Peace!